G'day, gorgeous galactic gardening guardians of the earth. Welcome to the Green Temple, where we'll be discussing natural gardening's life force connection to Mother Earth, our cosmic source. As guardians of the earth and the earth as a garden, we can garden our way using the very laws of nature that created and sustained us to evolve alongside life itself. Gardens, natural and man-made at this point, are essential to life on Earth, not only on the physical level of food, air, medicine, fuel, building materials, etc., but plant life also provides a healthy mental and spiritual environment for all earthlings to thrive within. I'm deliberately saying earthlings instead of just human beings, because we earthlings are all facing the same problems at the moment, from the smallest microbes in the soil to the worms, through to the plant kingdom, the fungi kingdom, the insect kingdom, the animal kingdom, and directly to us humans. We are all in a state of crisis and mass sickness, and we're dying off in record numbers due to the unnatural ways of humanity, slashing forests, poisoning the soil with chemical synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, upsetting sacred DNA lineages with GMOs, which also make us and the surrounding environment very sick, alongside a lack of diversity, a lack of love, and a lack of general respect for the laws of nature and the ways of Mother Earth on this garden planet. These unnatural ways of working with nature have grown a society of humans so far removed from their true garden planet that many humans are now too sick, sad, and self-centered to give their own Mother Earth the care she deserves, that would in turn heal and restore them. Humanity needs to finally accept the failure of its unnatural attempts at dominating the larger part of itself. Humanity's disconnected, unnatural lifestyle, it's only propped up by stealing and leeching from natural resources. When we disconnect from nature and then use it to fuel our delusions, it's at the expense of all life. And this is the lowest state of humanity. It's vampiric and will keep sucking until it destroys and depletes its energy source to the point it can no longer sustain itself. As humanity wakes from this dream and enters its higher nature as one with all life, it becomes obvious that we have the ability to restore and protect that which sustains us, and integrate that guardianship into our everyday lives as normal, just like every other creature born of Earth does. I really love permaculture and eco gardening because it follows the laws of nature. It's so harmonious, healthy, sustainable, and logical. A great collection of pre-formulated ways of working with the environment modeled from nature herself. By mimicking nature's ways of creating ecosystems and gardens, we provide an environment for many other life forms to coexist happily together with us, just like they do in the natural world. Gardening nature's way isn't about short-term benefits for just humans or the owner of the garden. It's about perpetual benefits for all. All of nature's systems are self-perpetuating. They feed back into themselves and create more abundance and biodiversity as they grow. By using divine mimicry, we can create the perfect conditions for the underground life, the microbes, the fungi, the worms, the insects, also the above ground life, the animals, the plants, and ourselves. Gardens are the foundations of human health because the natural healthy state of earth is a garden, and we are part of the earth. We are literally born into this earth garden reality, whether we recognize it or not. These natural ecosystems birthed all earthlings and sustain us in every way. From the vast forested mountain ranges to the jungles and savannas, I would even go so far as to call our oceans and coral reefs and deserts and waterways and cave systems all a part of Earth's garden reality as well. When humans remove their identity from Earth's garden, where our great connection to the life source of Mother Earth was born, it's removing ourselves from the reality of who and where we really are in the universe, in life. This can send people on an endless search to fill the void with artificial products, and those involved in corporations have been all too happy to pillage the earth while enslaving most of humanity and countless animals to create objects of illusionary value, to trick humans into believing these objects will suffice the yearning for the truth of who we really are. They create a false reality and get humans hooked on trying to survive it. Really, this is the dream within a dream, and the degraded human condition is not natural. We don't need to live in a bad dream. We can simply wake up and be ourselves, be nature again like every other being on earth. Why do we have to pull ourselves out of the natural current of life and then struggle upstream to some impending disaster? The great cosmic mother knows what works and what doesn't, and built into the program of life there is a debugging system which eventually breaks down all which isn't divine, which isn't in divine accordance with the natural law. And on the other hand, all which is aligned with the natural law rides that current and is empowered by the laws of nature and multiplies unto itself. We can see that directly when eco gardening or doing permaculture, we take advantage of what nature is naturally doing, passively channeling the natural flow of life through our gardens the best we can. Humanity is intuitively dissatisfied with false reality. Many are looking for a way out. People are literally dying for their mother garden, to feel at home again, and to finally get on with their amazing adventure, their existence in a healthy world as their true selves, free from such damaging illusions, lies, and the false overlords that peddle them. Now, at this point, many may be feeling and thinking, I'm just not into gardening, or I really don't think it's that important. Firstly, there are so many more ways you can get involved without actually gardening. And just because you may not know how to garden at this point doesn't make you any less of a guardian of Earth. You don't even have to get your hands dirty if that's not your thing. The trick is not trying to fit into someone else's idea of what gardening is, but to find your own way down the garden path by following what feels good for you. You could start with just noticing who has green fingers in your area. Are there any community gardens? Could you start one? What could you offer? Things like grass clippings, garden waste, compost. Could you provide supplies, tools, seeds, fertilizer, money even? Can you donate money to gardens? Can you donate money to earth regenerative projects? I can never say that word. Can you donate money to help regenerate the earth? Have you got any potential garden space that you're not using? You could offer up your own neglected garden space to keen gardeners in your community to create a space for life on your property. Why not offer up your whole front lawn as a garden, as a community vegetable patch? I love the food not lawns movement, turning lawns into food gardens, and also guerrilla gardening, just planting wherever you want, seed saving and seed sharing. When you create garden spaces everywhere in this way, everyone can enjoy the spoils of the garden together as a healthy community. Shared garden space is a natural way of life. Nature doesn't put up fences, borders, or boundaries to the extent humans do. Nature is our guide. We are not her prison guards. We are not her gatekeepers. We are her guardians, her gardeners. By reconnecting to the development, the evolution of our earth, we create a healthy focus point for ourselves and the community, which in turn, by the law of attraction, aligns us with healthy, happy experiences. As the plants grow and the consciousness of the community involved in the garden is all focused on supporting that life, that kind of energy in and of itself will multiply and be beneficial to all who come in contact with it and the garden. This energy builds and mixes humans, plants, animals, insects, fungi. Nature stabilizes herself and radiates out a healthy, stable frequency. Some people connect with crystals to develop higher levels of consciousness, and crystals are also great for this kind of energy work because, like plants, they hold codes to natural law in their geometry. Crystals are the flowers of the mineral kingdom. They just grow much slower, and the frequency of natural law radiates with strength and stability from crystals. Just like a sacred garden will have that mystical, uplifting effect on those in it. That same magical life force we feel in the wild, in nature, can run through the gardens we create as well. When a garden is lit by the light of natural law, it connects to every other energy of the same high vibration, casting a healing web of light around the world, cleansing and empowering the ley lines of earth and the crystals under the earth to all sing together once again, connected as one, re-establishing the original blueprint of this planet. This realignment, this healing process is destined to happen anyway. Why not be a part of it? Another easy way to support eco gardening is to support eco, organic, or permaculture farmers, because their methods support the natural balance of life in our earth garden, of which we are also a part of. So we are supporting ourselves and the whole planet on multiple levels when we support our natural farmers. Falling back into alignment with our true nature, supporting natural produce, supporting your own health and the health of the planet, we can tie our everyday actions in with the flow of nature, linking us back into the web of life, where the side effect of our food production creates more life and more abundance for the surrounding environment. instead of enforcing an artificial system onto the natural world that is so short-sighted, it depletes soil and fertility in decades. Soil and fertility that took thousands, sometimes millions of years to build naturally. Not only do artificial systems need to vampire from true nature to prop themselves up, but they lower the standard of life for all, poisoning the earth, the waterways, the insects, the animals, and us when we eat the food that comes from this unnatural affected system. And in contrast, by eating natural food, by eating organic food, you absorb magical micronutrients, minerals, microbes, drawn into the plants, into the fruit, into the vegetables we eat from rich, healthy soil, clean water, and pure light from the sun and the moon and the stars. This stimulates our energy centers, our chakras, our extrasensory abilities, promoting health and beauty in our own bodies and in our minds and throughout the earth, for the soil, for the plant life, for that is the skin of our beloved Mother Earth. The health of the skin of Mother Earth is mirrored, reflected in our skies, the layer of Earth we live in, the ozone layer. When the Earth's surface is healed, regenerated, revived, full of flourishing wildlife, forests, and greenery, the side effect will be a healthy ozone layer, and we can live in that healthy greenhouse system of oxygen and light. Organic bio-waste, food waste, garden waste, the trees we cut down, so much of what is thrown into the rubbish is our food's food. It's a very, very pressing issue that humanity needs to acknowledge. Tons of useful organic and biomatter loaded with nutrients and minerals is ending up in landfill, mixed in with all kinds of poisons, plastics, and chemical garbage. This is a clear example of the unsustainability of the artificial system, because artificial systems need to feed from nature, feed from true reality to exist. They will always deplete their own fuel source and self-destruct. Then the law of nature will start healing the damage and rebuilding the conditions for life. We can speed this up ourselves when we heal or regenerate a damaged area. We can take note of how nature regenerates and put those laws into action ourselves and speed up the healing system to a supersonic rate and literally repair what would take the earth thousands of years to repair. We can do in decades by simply mimicking what we see working in nature, combining different regenerative methods together to amplify them. With our human intelligence, with our guardianship, we can take the laws of nature to a whole nother level. At this moment in time, healing the surface of the earth, building and replacing soil is essential for the health of our planet, for the health of our great Mother Earth. In reality, our organic waste is our future food, and this self-sustaining cycle is inescapable on Earth. Life does feed back into itself and grows and creates more. Only when we disconnect from this are we disconnected from the life feeding back into us and multiplying through us. The ways of corporate horticultural farming and agriculture has replaced the natural processes of life. with chemicals and poisons, and this has resulted in humans, along with many other life forms of Earth, becoming very sick and dying off in record numbers. New diseases are popping up every day like weeds. This is all a consequence of so many humans being removed from the natural state of health. Your health will reflect the health of the earth your food was grown in. It seems the human body has evolved within the natural system and came late in the game. We still depend on plants to survive. Plants evolved before us. They can survive without us. The environment can survive without us. Nature can survive without us, which kind of downgrades humanity on the chain of physical existence according to modern scientific standards. But recognizing our true place in the web of life unifies us as one great being, and we can see what our role is in the body of the great cosmic mother. As conscious guardians of Earth, living our own adventure through this garden reality we were born into, the natural world is always trying to groom us back into alignment, tempting us with beauty, food, medicine, supplies, ideas, and comfort. Most vegetables and fruits can be eaten without killing the plant. Annual vegetable plants respond well to having leaves eaten or removed. Many species of edible plants, especially herbs, actually love it when they are grazed upon and fed upon. This cleans out the plant of old growth, lets light and air into the plant, helping it to grow stronger and more lush. This is a beautiful, natural, symbiotic relationship between plants and earthlings, between plants and humans and other animals. They offer us food, medicine, supplies, and in trade, we clean out older growth, make way for new lush growth, spread their seed around as we carry their fruits through the world. The more we stray from the garden, the base supportive reality that created us, we build our castles on sand that are doomed to wash away with the tides of life. But on the other hand, we can take root in the reality that we are growing from the great mother garden herself, not separated from it at all. It is our base, it's our support, our protection. We can be easily fooled into the illusion that money and objects that corporations offer are the life-supportive energy in this world. But in reality, if money, corporations, governments, if all that were to disappear, life would continue. Life would actually start to thrive again. From the humble microbes in the earth to us on the surface, throughout the whole universe and beyond, life would radiate out from Earth once again, where all beings can build their lives here together with the full support of the planet's energy behind us. The state of our forests, our waterways, insects and animals, it's our responsibility. All other beings of Earth integrate this responsibility effortlessly into their day-to-day routine. Only when they are displaced by humans do they temporarily disrupt the environment. We can learn directly from that example by integrating more natural ways of being into our daily routines, and by noticing when our presence is too much for an ecosystem and taking a step back to protect it. As eco-guardians of Earth, it's our pleasure and our duty to heal and restore and recreate these life-giving ecosystems of Earth everywhere we can. Imagine if all the billions of humans on Earth planted just one tree every year. I know that's been said over and over again, but it rings so true. If all the billions planted one tree every year, those billions of trees could bear flowers for the bees and other insects to feed from. The flowers would grow into fruit for us to eat. The trees would drop leaves and wood, which would feed the life in the soil. we would have millions, maybe billions of acres of living food forests to feed all the gazillions of creatures on this planet and clean the Earth's atmosphere, supercharge it with oxygen, repair the ozone layer, all in a day's work once a year. The list of positive side effects of planting one tree a year are endless. But seriously, I recommend planting as many trees as you can all the time. That's how dire the situation is at the moment. The whole one tree a year thing is just an example to show how easy it could be if everybody worked together. And it would be amazing for the whole world if we could let our trees grow big again. There are rare few old growth forests left anymore. We forget how big trees on this planet can really get. Ancient, old, wise trees are powerful elders and protectors. It will take many generations for humanity to see the magnificence of ancient living trees around them once again. Many of the things we desire, work and strive for in the artificial system are really found in the natural side effects of gardening and living in alignment with nature, like beauty, health, strength, and happiness. Corporations are all too happy to play on these desires by advertising a parade of lies about what they can sell you to achieve a healthy body, a beautiful image, or happiness and security. There's a ridiculous amount of focus on fighting what we don't want to be or what we don't want to happen through artificial activities, through artificial devices and things that you pay money for. This is all feeding our lower aspects of self, which keep us from enjoying the moment and keep us from manifesting truly higher and happier versions of ourselves and experiences. Gardening promotes awesome health and fitness. Even a small garden, you'll never run out of things to do if you see it as your lifestyle, your gym, your vegetable market, your social area. Just incorporating and being in nature in your garden every way you can, moving your body, being productive. Your mind and soul can work out together in line with nature, and the side effects will be happiness, beauty, and health. The core desires humanity longs to fulfill is to return to their natural state and then to work freely once again as a part of nature itself. The minor goals in life, like health, beauty, strength, security, are really just side effects of living as one's true self. No gimmick or fad can replace life. People spend hours a day walking on treadmills, going nowhere, lifting weights only to put them back down again, pulling on resistance machines, but nothing gets moved, all in the hope they'll be beautiful, strong, healthy, and accepted by society. Instead of walking on a plastic treadmill and watching TV, going nowhere, why don't you go out and take on the moment, save a dog from the pound and walk the dog every day, watch the birds, explore your area. Instead of lifting weights, carry a watering can around, dig up and prepare a patch of new earth for a garden, climb a tree, prune the branches, push a wheelbarrow. You could volunteer to help with heavy lifting at a charity organizations. Gyms and unorganic fitness machines are poorly trying to mimic the life-giving actions like gardening, building, playing, creating, even just walking. There's machines for that. The robotic predictability of the machines pace your brain through. It has a dulling effect on your mind compared to dealing with the unpredictability and amazement of the natural world when gardening, building, or even just walking a dog, where you and life are free to be. Being open to the real world and doing real things, your mind, body, and soul will flow with life, keeping your mind sharp and awake and in the moment, not on what you want to be, but on what you're actually doing, and your body will take care of itself on its own. Basic health is a side effect of aligned living, aligned with life. For someone who achieves a healthy body through life-giving actions like gardening, swimming, climbing, building, all the other countless ways of using your body naturally, their beauty and strength is just a side effect of a healthy natural life. And the shape of their muscles has a very defined, beautiful quality. And in fact, many of these people don't even realize how attractive they are because so much of their focus is directed towards the moment. Their body is just a reflection of their mind's healthy direction. The healthy body so many crave is in reality just a side effect of being naturally human, the way our great cosmic mother always intended all life of Earth to be. While living a natural life, the body aligns with what it is, an original work of beautiful art. Another side effect occurs on a conscious and subconscious level. The reflected lessons of life our gardens teach. We can see how things break down and how life builds up. The laws of the universe are shared to us by the life cycles of the plants and insects and seasons in our garden. It's an open book. It's a life hack to life itself. Gardening is real, and it teaches us to notice other aspects of Earth's reality. Like the cycles of seasons, life, death, rebirth, the fruits of love and patience, many know the great sense of peace they feel being involved with the garden, and that great feeling of satisfaction they receive when it's flourishing and producing. Just as the great oneness our great planet feels about us. In this respect, we can develop our understanding of God, Goddess, Green Tara, the great I Am, Source, the Megaverse, Multiverse, Microverse, whatever you want to call God, I don't know. Humans can relate more to oneness when working alongside it, and a garden is a great example of living oneness. Our growth and happiness brings a sense of satisfaction and peace to the source of life that runs through everything. Organic gardening, eco gardening, and permaculture, it's nothing new. It's the original way. Plants have never strayed from growing in this healthy direction. Thus, they mimic the timeless universal law for all to see. And like the wind and challenging situations blowing in, weeds, pests, other problems creating contrast, showing us outdated thought patterns that drain us from our life, as the weeds may be draining energy from useful plants in our gardens from time to time, you know it's time to get in there and deal with the weed. Pull it up, just like you have to pull out the old ideas and beliefs in your mind that no longer serves you. Then being able to use those weeds and life lessons as solutions to your problems. And by watching what works in the natural world, in your garden, in nature, and then applying that to your own life, you'll find your emotions are reflected back at you in nature, so you can feel how the solution relates to you personally. Like, for instance, companion planting, learning what enjoys growing side by side and what is best kept apart. You could find this relates to your personal issues, and your natural garden solutions speak to your subconscious, generating constructive ideas based on the blueprint of nature you're viewing in real time. These kinds of lessons are absorbed by us when we're focused on growing a natural, garden, or even just spending time in nature, the lessons can be somewhat endless as you start noticing them. We are all in constant conversation with the environment around us. That world is always ushering us back to ourselves. In a very real way, being involved with a natural garden, you're being trained to create your own reality in a very gentle, subtle way by the garden itself. We can reclaim the earth in her honor as the garden she is in her natural state of health for our own self-respect and well-being. For in this body we are part of the earth, and the earth is us. The removal of humans from the Garden of Earth was the removal of truth from our lives, which is why so many humans feel they are living a lie or feel that something is dreadfully wrong with the world. If you're spiritually aware and are resonating with this message, a fun way to get into gardening and reclaiming, brightening up the space around you is to become a guerrilla gardener and plant wherever you can. Just like street artists fill useless spaces with art, you can beautify the soil, the earth with plants and bring life to your area, bring light to your area. Guerrilla gardening is perfect for those living in cities who don't have garden space, because you make the whole street your garden, make the whole block your garden, the whole neighborhood, the whole suburb, make the whole city your garden. It is your garden. Guerrilla gardening is amazing, and I encourage everyone everywhere to be a guerrilla gardener. Just plant wherever you can. Take the laws of nature into your own hands. If you see a patch of barren, unused earth, bring it to life. So many plants and succulents can be taken as cuttings and put straight into the ground. They will grow without a problem. If you don't know what the best plant for the space is, just look for one on the internet. There really is no excuse to hold yourself back. Even if the government, if the council pulls out your plants, plant them again, make a complaint, ask them to supply you with the money to buy more plants to plant around the public spaces. This is your space. The earth is a garden. You are an earthling. No artificial system has the right to suppress natural law, and take pride and confidence when acting within the natural law. And when I say law, I spell it L-O-R-E, the natural law of life. It's easy to feel the magical difference a lush garden, big or small, makes to any area. The glowing of green is so inspiring, uplifting, creating positive feng shui. The energy of growth helps you to grow, creating a lovely support net of healthy energy in your area, compared to an environment of cement, neglect and pollution where it can be a struggle just to get through the day with your mind intact. Create and maintain life-supporting earth patches, green patches. If you choose the right plants, there can be very little work involved, and they will continue to thrive. If you move around, if you move away, you'll be leaving a trail of life behind you as you go through it. Let your idea of the space you care for stretch beyond your own body, your own house, your own property. Map out a larger area in your mind that you can logically take care of, support, and fill potential garden beds with plants for insects, birds, animals that need little care or that will need the care that you can provide to them. You don't have to overstretch yourself. There are so many variables in creating little natural ecosystems. The goal, the key is to get them self-sustaining, just like they would be in nature. It can be a fun game to try and figure out the different plants and supplies you'll need to spark a life-giving ecosystem on a patch of earth. And no two systems will be exactly the same. So it really becomes an art form, just like street artists. There's a plant for every type of environment. Jump online and you'll be guided to the plant you need in seconds. Natives and wildflowers are always a safe bet, and it's so easy to collect your own seeds and cuttings. You can usually find cheap native seedlings as well. Plant a selection of plants that will flower all year round for nectar and pollen, feeding insects and animals. Imagine a bee, butterfly, or bird flying through your neighborhood. Is there a diverse range of flowering or fruiting plants for them to feed from as they fly around? Gardening nature's way inspires creativity, and your mind is the limit. Your imagination will guide you through the layout plan, and it could be an ever-changing entity. The garden is alive. I like to incorporate stones, crystals, strange rocks, statues. I like to burn incense when it rains. I like to follow moon gardening practices. I like to try old folklore techniques. I just like to have fun and experiment with my gardening journey. I add river sand from the mountains. I add red desert sand from Central Australia to the soil for the magical minerals they contain. I just make it fun and do what I want. Collect tips from other gardeners. There are so many gardening documentaries and books, and you can just follow your intuition. When your intentions are to create a natural garden that's beneficial to all life around it, your intuition will guide you because you reconnect with the flow of life, and that flow of life responds to that intention, understands that intention because it has the same intention. Gardens inspire community. I wouldn't even know my neighbors if it wasn't for my garden. And now that I'm friends with them, we're always swapping seeds, advice, and stories. It amazes me the type of interactions gardens can draw into your life, especially a natural life-giving garden. If the fence allows people to see it, that is. I've had strangers walk past and compliment the garden, which ignites a conversation, which leads to a friendship. You get to know people in your area, which builds confidence and security. It's a really beautiful energy that radiates from these natural gardens through the neighborhood. The kids know they can pick the cherry tomatoes on my fence and pat the cat when they pass. All these property lines humans are guarding, it's all in our head, just the same as the lines that divide countries. We could remove the fences and let the gardeners who live there grow food on the shared space for everyone, making each little block a self-sustaining unit. The fences are keeping more life out than they are protecting us from. Community is so desperately needed because genuine, heartfelt human contact is so lacking in today's world. The petty, meaningless, fear-based reasonings humans have disconnected from each other and the earth all just fade away in the true garden reality, where community is nurtured by the environment itself. Nature is the setting for healthy communities to grow and bloom on this planet because gardens carry the natural vibe of community. Just being in one can open a person's mind to higher dimensions of love and oneness, trust and acceptance. Gardens are the most ideal place to have a meaningful conversation because we become positively influenced by the sharing nature of the garden, and we want to join in by sharing ourselves in a more meaningful way. Build a relationship with your plants and your food. Save the seed and share it around. Grow the seeds and the pips from the fruit that you eat. A baby fruit tree makes a great gift and provides free food for years to come. Considering that same fruit seed or pip could have been tossed in the bin, ending up as landfill, shows how powerful our perception is. When we see organic matter, pips and seeds as rubbish with no future, that is reflected back to us. Or we can see it for what it truly is, our future, our health, our happiness. Once we humble ourselves and rejoin the earth, new generations can then be born into a peaceful world of health, happiness, and the abundance we're all craving for. Working with the earth as the beautiful garden she is has the power to heal massive areas of polluted wastelands now littering our world. The forests, the bushlands, jungles, coral reefs, wetlands, all these natural gardens can be re-established and will completely heal the problems we're all facing. The ozone layer, it's like the protective glass of a greenhouse around the garden of Earth. So not only are we living in a garden, but we're also living in a greenhouse, literally a green temple, the green temple of our solar system. And this amazing shield mirrors the health of the gardens beneath, the health of the forest and greenery beneath it. Over millions of years, plants were an essential part of creating and maintaining this protective greenhouse around the planet. And the only solution for healing the damage is mass gardening, mass reforestation, and an immediate end to all forest slashing. Climate change problems are just a reflection. They're just a symptom of the damage of the Earth's natural ecosystems. By replacing the systems that created and sustain it, that is the solution. Healthy plant life, healthy ecosystems are even the solution to the supposed overpopulation problem. For there aren't too many humans on the earth, there's just not enough plants to compensate for them, to clean their air, to protect and nourish their soil, to recycle their waste, for them to use as building materials, for them to use as fuel, to heal us, to feed us. Overpopulation is a cop-out, a distraction from the real issue at hand. We need more trees and more plants, not less people. Gardens of the earth would live on. In fact, they would flourish without us, in our current state, that is. But we would surely die without them. This is because plant life is highly evolved, has been on this planet for longer than humanity. Their humble souls teach us that giving and receiving are one and the same. This is the big secret humanity is remembering, that life supports itself and then multiplies. It's all about realigning mind, body, and soul to the laws of nature here as a part of our garden planet. Humanity was never banished from Eden. It just forgot it's already there. Humanity is but a piece, an aspect of the garden paradise world we call Earth. Now, I know I've been skipping over so many different topics and touching on so many different points, but this is because it's all attached to this web of life. Everything true and everything real is integrated and connected. And everything I brought up, we could go into a way deeper and more refined conversation on, but I thought it was a good idea to bring all the connectivity of these life-giving ideas and ways of being into the Green Temple. And now reaching the end of this discussion, I want to talk more on a personal note about the conversation we had. This was a download, a transmission I received many, many years ago, maybe around 12 years ago. I think it was the week I created this channel. So you can go back and look at the first video I uploaded. The date on that was around the time I actually received this transmission, this teaching. I was a novice at living this reality, but had connected so deeply with the energy so fast that all this information came through me, and I had to write it down, which inspired me to create Gardening New Earth YouTube channel. And I was going to make this amazing documentary with this teaching based around the concept of a green temple. But what happened all those years ago was the great cosmic mother Earth, Green Tara, said, no, you're not going to release this teaching yet. You are going to meet another person who is aligned with this Green Tara energy. It turned out she was an initiate of Green Tara, and I didn't find out till many years after. Amazing synchronistic coincidence. But together we ended up running a community garden in the Abbotsford Convent for Lentil as Anything, working with beautiful star seeds and light beings from all around the world, growing all this beautiful organic heirloom produce for a pay-as-you-feel restaurant where people could pay whatever they had to eat this beautiful food. But me and Christina, who I ran the garden with, we knew the garden was a green temple, and we had decided on that in unison. And even though we were growing all this beautiful food, the focus was to create a magical temple of green, beautiful, life-giving energy. We were also situated on Aboriginal sacred ground along a very powerful ley line, where a lot of churches are built all along this ley line. So the garden was in a convent on top of the hill, a very strong power point. So we knew that our garden's position had an effect on the surrounding area and flowed through a main ley line of Mother Earth herself. So we were very tentative to keeping a beautiful high vibration in this green space. And then the food and the herbs, the produce from the garden would ripple out through the community into the people, healing and enlightening them. This was our work for many years as green light workers in our green temple. So even though I was gifted with all this information, understanding and knowledge in one hit, in a flash, in the garden, the universe, the megaverse, the multiverse, the motherverse, said, before you start teaching this, you are going to live this, you are going to create this. And I'm so glad, because it's given me so much confidence in this teaching. It's one thing to receive truth, to receive a download of higher wisdom, of higher dimensional information, but to integrate it into my life for years and live that truth in different circumstances through the ups and downs of my life. I feel really self-assured and confident in sharing this message now. And in retrospect, imagine if I would have started sharing this message from the start without integrating it first. It wouldn't have had the same strength behind it. Even though there was truth, I wouldn't have been able to back it up with true confidence, which strengthens the vibration of this message. And truth be told, I thought I lost this teaching when I broke a hard drive of mine years ago and forgotten all about it. And I was going through some old emails and found that I'd backed it up by sending it to myself. And I started reading it, and I thought this was a really magical moment when I typed out this teaching, and there's so much truth. I know I teach it all now. I go deeper into all the different subjects if you've watched the longer videos, but I thought this teaching in and of itself was the spark that got the wheels in motion for me living this truth and experiencing this reality for myself. And there's so much good in it, even if it does graze over so many topics. I think in and of itself it's worth getting out there, especially since the next long video I'm making looks like it's going to take a long time to make, the Magic in the Garden Part 2, which will be about magical plants. It looks like that's going to be a long one to put together, but if you would like to go deeper into the subject of spirituality and magic in the garden, the video titled Magic in the Garden Part 1, that goes very deep into natural law, the Fibonacci sequence, sacred geometry, golden ratio, how this sacred mathematics can be used consciously and how it works naturally in our, if you want to go deeper into those more spiritual subjects, Magic in the Garden Part 1 really goes deep into that. Well, that about wraps up the Green Temple conversation for today. I hope it's been inspiring for you, and I wish you much fun on all your gardening adventures.